Hello, welcome to the Psychology of Everyday Success. I'm Jennifer Owens,
I'm Tim Owens.
and today we are going to talk about a really good topic, being best friends in marriage. Tim and I both consider each other good friends, and I think that was one of the qualities that kind of led us to being in a relationship with one another, where friendship was just primary. In fact, I think one of the things Tim did was say, "Hey, you know what? I'm going to step back and just be your friend." And I could really appreciate that because it was very, very important to me at the time. Tim, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, after I put the moves on you, no. No, yeah, absolutely right. Being best friends is absolutely critical in marriage. And
Hmm.
Jennifer is my best friend, without question. And one of the reasons we think of in those terms, and we want to talk about that today, is because marriage is really kind of under attack in our society.
Yeah.
Um, I think our divorce rate is what, 50%? And
Yes.
the average marriage only lasts about 3 or 4 years,
Yeah.
maybe five.
Unfortunately.
We've been married 16 by God's grace. So
Mhm.
we wanted to talk about that and talk about how you become best friends in marriage and how do you remain best friends in marriage when
Yeah.
you're dating initially. That's really what I think causes us to want to connect long term is because we end up being friends and we fall in love as a result. And so
Mhm.
but it's important to maintain it, and that's absolutely critical. Sometimes people go from being best friends in marriage to being worse enemies, and that's what
Yeah.
we want to prevent. So
Yeah.
I guess we're going to talk about defining what it means to be best friends in marriage first, right, Jen? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So one of the main qualities of being a best friend in marriage, I think, is vulnerability. Just being able to lend your softer, gentler, most vulnerable side to someone
Mm,
often makes you moldable, quite honestly. And if the
mm,
person that you got married to was to add to you or to add to your purpose or
yeah.
make you a better person, even as you are a completely whole person,
Mm,
um, and I'm stressing that wholeness because it's very important that you come together as a whole person before
mm,
you come together to be a part of a marriage. It really helps complement the marriage.
absolutely.
Um, yeah, so having someone you trust to be vulnerable with in all aspects of your life. And then two, having someone who will listen to you without judgment as you share life's ups and downs with them.
Mm,
A lot of times I think we can get confused, even in our personal friendships, about, why that friend's not calling me or being their normal self or giving me the attention that I deserve. And I think we do that in marriages too.
yeah.
So it's very important to listen without judgment. And if that person is just having a bad day, what can I do to help you? How can I make it better? And not judge them, saying, begin to be kind of critical and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, Number three is having someone to comfort you when you get weak and tired and run out of energy.
Mm.
It's always good to have somebody like rub your feet or your back or your head, right? All those things are just comforting. And quite truthfully, life is hard because life be lifing, like they say, right? And it's just, hard out here
Yeah.
sometimes. Just being yourself, being black, being whatever it is, being a
Mm,
person, a female, a male.
mm,
So I think sometimes life just gets a little challenging. And
mhm.
number four, having someone with whom we can cherish our most cherished dreams, and our deepest disappointments. It's always good to have somebody who just listens to you in that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So going forward, we want to talk a little bit about having someone with whom you can be your most authentic self at all times. I think that's
Mm.
really the essence of being a best friend is they have you're able to be your who you are, show them who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that. Having somebody who listens to, I think Jen mentioned that earlier. It's just, listening is absolutely critical. We tend to want to talk more than we want to listen, but
Mhm.
really people determine whether or not you care about them as to whether or not you're willing to listen to them. Uh,
Yeah.
so that's important. Having someone who has your back, even when you are wrong, right? Or even
Mhm.
when they think you're wrong. I think that's what it means to be in this thing together, ride or die. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
what happens. I got you, right? I'm gonna have your back even when everybody else is against you. Then
Yeah.
prioritizing the relationship over being right. Sometimes we want to be right, more than we want what's best for the relationship. Let me just help you with something. It's okay to not be right, to be wrong,
Hmm.
and to notice that it's more important to prioritize us being close and being in relationship together than
Yeah.
necessarily I got to win this argument.
Yes.
Nobody ever gives you a medal for doing that, and you
Yeah.
really ultimately end up messing up your relationship. And then finally, one of the things we want to talk about in terms of what it means to be best friends is operating as a team. No matter what you're facing,
Hmm.
we approach this as a team, right? We're in this together, and we're in it to win it. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what I think it means to be a best friend to your spouse. And
And team means together everyone achieves more.
there you go. That's how we do it. We come
That's the
together and we
acronym.
work together. So
Yes.
let's talk just a minute about barriers to being best friends in marriage. What do you
Hmm.
think, Jen?
Well, I think the failure to forgive is uh
Mm,
just big, like
huge.
if you can't get past the hurt or any kind of shame or anything that, gets in the way of your communication, and just be able to say, you know what, I'm sorry, or I didn't mean to say what I said, or
Mm,
just being able to at least humble yourself, so that you can get to the nitty-gritty things and talk about them openly. That's very important. Being inflexible in the relationship and not choosing to change or modify or
mm,
like schedules, everything from how the kids, who's with them.
mm.
Sometimes it might just be like where we go to eat tonight. I don't know, but I'm gonna let you choose.
Right.
So being lending and giving time like that and giving what do you call it? Deference, yeah, to someone else
I
about
like
their
that.
thoughts.
Hmm.
Number three, false pride or stubbornness, refusal to give in to your spouse when needed. That's a huge one. I mean, that could be like a boulder sometimes. And when you are stubborn, quite honestly, nobody's happy. Everybody is offended, and it can stick. And when you hold those grudges for a couple of days, by that time you don't even recognize each other anymore. So that's very important. Not allowing your spouse to add insight, wisdom, and new knowledge to your perspective. Tim talked earlier about prioritizing, intimacy. And I think that's just really important to remember, like putting that first and allowing your spouse to speak and have their voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
What
Um,
about?
going forward beyond that, another thing that is another barrier to being best friends in marriages is being destructively critical of your spouse.
Hmm.
Somebody said sticks and stones might break my bones, but words will never hurt me. That's just absolutely not true. Critical words can be destructive, and they will
Yeah.
tear your spouse down instead of
Hmm.
building them up. So that's not a good thing. Uh, Another one is not spending quality time together. When you were dating, you were always talking to each other, always on the phone, always at each other's house, always, hanging out, connecting. But you get married, and life happens, right? And so you stop spending quality time together. You just, you do your thing, and they're doing their thing, and that's a barrier to being best friends in marriage. And then finally, forgetting to laugh and to have fun together. The reason you got into this marriage to begin with is because you guys had fun together. You laughed
Hmm.
with each other. You did things together. You played. And that person significantly increased the quality of your life, right?
Hmm.
So we have to be intentional about doing that, because sometimes the bills come and the challenges
Yeah.
happen and somebody's sick and whatever. But we can't forget to laugh and have fun with each other.
Yeah. And so we're coming down to our last couple minutes here. So ways to overcome barriers and being best friends in marriage. I'm gonna read a couple of them real quick. And just to kind of let you know where we are with that. Never fail to forgive, even when you don't feel like they deserve it. Being flexible when needed. exchanging false pride and stubbornness for genuine humility. So it's kind of like the opposite of some of the things we've already said. Listen to your spouse and value their input. They obviously have something important to add, and it's fruitful for that marriage. So listen up.
Absolutely. So, and instead of being critical, be supportive and encourage them.
Hmm.
That's absolutely critical. Be intentional about spending quality time together as often as possible. Like we talked about date night, go on dates. It's important to date your spouse.
Sure is.
Way more important to date your spouse than it is your girlfriend. you know, Never stop laughing and having fun together, as we've talked about. And if all else fails, just love on each other and be
Loving each
present for
other.
each other. Be there for each other.
Yeah.
Be with each other. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely critical
Can
stuff.
we just, I want to comment the presence. I think
Yeah, go
presence is
ahead.
so big and so important. Like just being able to put that phone down, being able to turn
Mm,
the TV off, being able to put some light music on and just really look at each other. Being seen is so important.
mm,
And sometimes I'll just kind of ask Tim, do you see me? And I'll even ask him, what do you see? Because that's pretty important. Because sometimes I really want to know, can you see the stress? Can you
mm,
see, the happiness? Can you see whatever I'm going through right now? And sometimes he will tell me and he'll say, you know what, tell me what's going on. How's your spirit? He asks me this question all the time. And I really like that because I think it helps to really emphasize where I am in life. And so those are always good tips too.
yeah. What's it like to be you these days?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are good questions.
Good,
All
good,
right.
good stuff. Well,
We're
listen, thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to encourage you to check us out online. We're at the Psychology of Everyday Success on Facebook. As you found us on the radio, we're with Urban Radio, and we do the Psychology of Everyday Success every Saturday, starting at 2 Central and 3 Eastern. And
mhm,
we also do, you can find us on YouTube at Psychology of Everyday Success,
mhm.
our YouTube channel.com. So,
Yeah.
all right, listen, you have a great one, and
Have a good one.
we look forward to connecting with you later.
Thanks for listening.